Hello and welcome back, my friends. So, another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles has brought us something new. We have a new Gem Summon Challenge added today. And what are we going to get for this one? Well, it is bringing us back to the Gem Summon Challenge for items, which I've discussed before is not necessarily the way that I want them to go with this, but in reality, it is what we are being offered. So I think it's important that we take a moment to take a look at what they gave us and decide if this is a good choice to do for us. A lot of people are asking, should I participate in this? I will give my thoughts on that in just a moment, but instead let's talk about what is here and available. So first things first, it does require a 10 pull. So you need to do 10 gem pulls in some way to participate in this particular event. So the options that we're getting here, to start things out, we're getting gems as a possible reward. I think that's maybe a little bit interesting, right? There's 1,500 or 1,000 gems. Some of the portals that are up right now, in fact, a couple of the good ones, are only going to be 2,600 gems. So if you actually won 1,500 from this challenge, you'd only be spending 1,100 gems at that point to get to 2,600. So that'd be a fairly cheap 10 pull you walked away with. That's kind of a fun scenario. If you got the 1,000 gems, you would have only spent 1,600 gems on your 10 pull. But again, those gem possibilities are only going to be 20% of the possible pulls. Then they also offered Alpha Aethers 2 and 1. I mean, that's cool. We always can use Alpha Aethers. Not that exciting, though. Also, 100 loot tickets, which really is probably the worst prize in here. And then you can get 3 pulls of various types. And as you can see down here, they added the challenge coins, the untold coins, the super elemental coins, pickup, and covenant. So 3 pulls isn't exactly a lot, but it's okay, I suppose. And with pulls being 5 out of the possible 10, there's a 50% chance you're going to get 3 pulls of some type. So just keep that in mind. All right, so now the big question, right? Should you participate in this? Oh gosh, well, that's such a great question. And the answer is maybe, right? Like I can't give you a definitive answer because the value for this lies in your spending habits, and I'll explain why. If you are a low spend person, I do not think there's enough value out of this particular portal to make you spend when you wouldn't have. Like there's no reason to go chasing this particular challenge. It's just not that great. However, I think there are plenty of people out there that have a higher budget and spend more, and they are going to do 10 pulls regardless, right? So on any other day, you're going to do a 10 pull, and you don't really get additional benefit for doing so. But today, you will receive a reward for just doing pulls you probably would have done already anyways. So I think there's great value for players of that nature who would already be doing pulls, but now will receive extra benefit for doing so. So the value definitely lies in your spending habits and sticking with them. In other words, if you're already a spender, great, congratulations, it's a fun day for you. If you're kind of a low spender, just don't spend today. It'll also be okay. You're not walking away from anything that amazing. Okay, so there you go. That's my thoughts on whether you should participate. Now let's talk about what we have to participate in. So the first portal that they offered us today is the Super Elemental portal. There's some interesting stuff featured here, but in reality, the odds here are going to be 0.5% for a featured. You are going to be able to pull other legendaries at, let's see, a slightly high, legendary nature hero at 1.9. So in theory, you have a chance to pull 5 stars like that are green in some way, but not the featured. Like you could get lucky, get someone like Dapher or this weird guy. She's a great healer that slows things down. But in reality, the 0.5% for the featured makes this portal not ideal in my opinion. All right, moving down here. We have the Beowulf portal, who's going to rock their odds at 1%. You do have interesting characters in Beowulf. At 3,000 gems, I don't particularly dislike this portal. I think this would be a perfectly fine one to choose to participate in. There is some good stuff in there. All right, now down here, we've got our seasonal. There are some okay seasonals that are up this year. A lot of people have been really enjoying Noelle as a fast healer. Ginger is a very fun character, although not necessarily game-changing. She could be great to use. And this person's fine too. You know, Florencia is okay. But the point is, this is a 2,600 portal. I think it's a fairly cheap one to participate in. There is some fun stuff to pull, so not a terrible option. Down here, this Covenant portal they gave us that's chock full of Dunes. I mean, if you love Dunes characters, you can participate. They are stronger right now in the Raid Brawl, not Raid Brawl, the League that just came up. The League will be going on all month, so even if you pull one of these characters, the real question is, how fast do you level them? Like, if you can level very quickly and participate with them in the League, it might be worth it. But otherwise, you know, probably skip over this one. At 3,400 gems, it's a very expensive portal to get into, but the pull rate is 1.6% for the featured out of here. All right, down here we also have Untold 2, and they did bring back the costumes for both Rain and Ott. Both of these would be fantastic pickups. Their stats are monstrous. Their abilities are cool. The buy-in cost here will also be 3,000 gems, and your pull rate is going to be 1% for the featured in this portal. All right, and then last but not least, they did give us a new pickup summon. I do want to shout out here and say that these characters that they offered, Riverfang and Agrath, this guy, they are both pretty darn good, right? You can see 1609, you can see 1603. So not the most recent heroes, but they're both still broke 1600, so they're pretty relevant on the CP scale, and they have some really cool abilities. Riverfang's going to be a nice priority dispeller, fantastic counter character. You get your Fox heal reduction. You've got your lasting increase damage from status elements and heals for some of the dot damage. Anyway, point is Riverfang's really cool. I like Riverfang. And then also this character, Magic Carpet Hero, anti-resurrection abilities, really strong hit to 3. You've got your full flight momentum. You're flipping their buffs into debuffs. Is that right? Attack buffs are transformed into negative. Yeah. So you're flipping their buffs into debuffs. You're messing with target's mana generation. Like just a lot of really cool stuff from this. Plus you get your weaker Mega Minions passive. So like they offered some really cool characters in this pickup summon. The pull rate tends to be a little bit better at 1.8%, and the buy-in is only 2,600 gems here as well. If I was participating, there's a very good chance I would do it in this portal, but I see a lot of value here. You don't have to agree with me on that, but I'm putting my 2 cents out there. Okay, so that's it. That's what we got for our gem challenge summon. Do you participate? I don't know. It's up to you. I would say if you do, I wish you the best of luck. I want you to get exactly what you're looking for out of this, and hopefully you pull a really cool new 5-star if you're, pulling and all of that fun stuff. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Again, if you like what I do, there's a little button at the bottom right. Helps you find me easier in the future. Go ahead and click that, and we will see you next time, everyone.